நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெடிலொழுகும் சீராறும் மதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டமிதில் எக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு திரை முதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय.
मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय.
असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति.
सत्यव्रतं सत्यपरं त्रिसत्यं सत्यस्य योनिं निहितं च सत्ये सत्यस्य सत्यं ऋतसत्यनेत्रं सत्यात्मकं त्वां शरणं प्रपन्नाः. वाणी गुणानुकथने श्रवणो कथायां हस्तौ च कर्मसु मनस्तव पादयोर्नः स्मृत्यां शिरस्तव निवास जगत्प्रणामे दृष्टिः सतां दर्शनेस्तु भवत्तनू नमो भगवते तस्मै कृष्णायाद्भुतकर्मणे नामविभेदेन जगत्क्रीडति यो यतः. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति.
Good evening all.
Hearty welcome. Hearty welcome to all the participants.
Good evening all. Myself Vinodini, Head Department of Commerce with Computer Application from the reputed institution Dwaraka Goverdhan Vaishnav College, Chennai. I extend a warm welcome on behalf of our organizing team of Industry Connect and Knowledge Enrichment Program J3 on Automobile Ancillary Industry Marching Towards Excellence. I am privileged to welcome a lineup of esteemed speakers who have been connected our virtual platform to provide our participants with remarkable opportunity to connect, learn, and exchange ideas. As we navigate through the intensities of topics, cost governance and excellence, I would wish to express my heartfelt warm welcome to our technical expert and resource person, CMA D. Raman, GM Casting, Lucas, TVS. Sir, welcome, sir. Now I extend my warm welcome to our expert, CMA Shri TCA, CMA Rakesh Shankar, Lok Udyog Bharati for joining us. Welcome, sir. I'm happy to extend my warm welcome to Dr. Prabha Rajagopal, Convener, Head Department of BCom CS, Dr. C.P. Vijayalakshmi, Head Department of Bank Management of our college. Welcome, ma'am and sir. It is truly a pleasure to welcome the enthusiastic minds, faculties, and active participants connected online today from different corners who are all united for a common quest for knowledge and insights. Once again, I extend my heartfelt welcome to our renowned speakers, enthusiastic participants, contributors, and organizers to the Day 3 of Industrial Connect and Knowledge Enrichment Program on automobile ancillary industries marching towards excellence. Let's make today's session an engaging and insightful experience. Welcome, one and all. Yes, it's time for us to know about our mainstream of today's session. May I now request Dr. C.P. Vijayalakshmi, Head Department of Bank Management, to introduce our esteemed speaker to the participants. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, ma'am.
Organizers,
Vijayalakshmi?
good evening. This is Prasad.
Yes, Vijayalakshmi, 1 second. Vinodini?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Vinodini, please welcome
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
CMA
ma'am.
TCA Srinivasa Prasad, sir.
Yes, sir. I extend my warm welcome to CMA Shri TCA Srinivas Prasad, sir, Council Member. So, welcome you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Vijay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Please. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening to everyone gathered here. Before we delve into the enriching knowledge session, I extend my gratitude to the Almighty for blessing us with the opportunity to partake in this learning experience. I am Dr. C.P. Vijayalakshmi, Head in Charge and Assistant Professor in the Department of Bank Management at Dwaraka Goverdhan Vaishnav College. It brings me immense joy to introduce our resource person for today's technical session, Day 3. We are honored to have with us CMAD Raman, former General Manager, Costing, Lucas TVS Limited. A distinguished individual, CMAD Raman is a science graduate from the University of Madras and a fellow member of the Institute of Cost Accountant of India. With a wealth of experience spanning over 30 years in the industry, particularly in costing and related areas, he has significantly contributed to the field. Commencing his career with Southern Switchgear Limited, CMAD Raman later embarked on a long and illustrious journey with the Lucas TVS Limited. During his tenure, he headed the costing and pricing section of the corporate finance department, overseeing operation across 7 plant locations nationwide. His role included handling various assignments in costing and project finance, leading a team of professionals in new product development with a focus on the target cost approach. CMAD Raman played a vital role in the development and implementation of costing system in ERP and PLM software, showcasing his expertise in adapting to technological advancement. His contributions extend beyond routine duties as he was empaneled as a senior faculty in the training center of the organization and received the prestigious Dr. Radhakrishnan Award. Moreover, he acted as a coordinator for the quality improvement team within the finance department. Currently serving the same organization in the capacity of a consultant, Sir continues to be a guiding force in the industry. His wealth of knowledge and experience is sure to enlighten us in today's session. Please join me in welcoming CMAD Raman Sir for what promises to be a highly informative and enlightful discussion. Thank you. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vijayalakshmi, ma'am, for
Thank you,
picturing
ma'am.
out the excellence of our expert, sir. So it's time for us to step into the core of Day 3 session. May I now welcome our technical expert, resource person, CMA D. Raman, GM Costing, Lucas TVS. Sir, the platform is yours, sir. Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, move on. See, in the auto ancillary industry, it's a peculiar industry, in fact. The industry is sandwiched between the tier 1 and tier 2 vendors. That is, whenever we supply to an automobile manufacturer, or what is known as OEMs, original equipment manufacturer, I become a tier 1. And when I supply a part, which is again supplied to another company, who in turn supplies to the OEMs, then I become a tier 2. So like this, there are so many tiers involved in the auto ancillary industry, which makes us a challenging task. Why? Because whenever I look upwards for my customer for any pricing, I'll be pushed because they are in competition. You see, there are a lot of vehicles getting introduced every day, and every model is coming with the various advanced features. And particularly today, there are a lot of electronic circuits governing the car. In fact, we are talking about a driverless car today with help of Google, the other advancement in computer technology. So what happens is that the moment a person, a company, comes out with a plan to introduce a vehicle, he tries to compete in the market first. That is, he must compete with his peer competitors. Again, this competition is based on the segment in which he belongs. For example, there are basically a commercial equipment segment, car segment, tractor segment, and then earthmoving equipment segment. And within commercial segment, there are commercial vehicles, light, heavy, and medium. And within the commercial vehicle, there can be a utility vehicle segment, like passenger utility or sports utility vehicles. For example, if you take a commercial vehicle, the vehicles manufactured by Tata Motors, Mahindras are all commercial vehicles, where you can see on the road, like a 15-ton E, which means 15-ton truck, 707, which means 7-ton truck. And if you take utility vehicles, for example, Tata Sierra or Tata Sumo, these are passenger utility vehicle. And you can see a lot of school buses and vans manufactured by Acer and FML. See, these are designed in a such a way that to enhance the customer satisfaction first. Depending upon the utility value, the designs are made. Then these designs are estimated for a cost. Then they finally fix a price. The price cannot be fixed basically on the entire cost of manufacturing because there is a competition. There is a price war between the customers. So when these customers do have the price war, naturally that will be thrust on us who are in tier 2 and tier 3 industries. The next one is technology. See, when we talk about technology, there were situations in the 1950s and 60s, not much of auto and industry were in India. Even today, the components which we supply to the OEMs were imported and then supplied to these people. And later, from the importing stage, it moved on to supply of import of CKD, then assembling those items and supplying to the OEMs. Later, with the development of technology, the wants have become more. For example, today, whenever a vehicle manufacturer comes up with a design for a vehicle, he talks about fuel efficiency. The fuel efficiency depends upon the weight of the vehicle also. So what he does is, he wants a product with a lesser weight, but having the same competency and efficiency as per the previous designs. So what happens? We try to do and explore technology. We try to have a tie-up with international designers. That's why we have today a lot of companies having technical collaboration with the foreign companies, manufacturing the vehicles as well as the auto ancillary equipments. See, in this condition, what happens? The number of players have become more when compared to 50s and 60s. Today, the number of players in both manufacturing segment of OEMs as well as the auto ancillary industry, there are a lot of people coming in and playing, which naturally puts you into the price and cost pressures. Actually, there is a price war. Today, when you want to buy a vehicle, for example, any car you take, There are different types of cars, class A, class B, class C, and different segment. There are sedans, there are hatchbacks, a lot of things are available and different price ranges. Even if you take one particular, for example, if you take a Maruti make Swift, there are 3 different varieties. One is VXI, another is LXI. What exactly the difference between these? Because the basic model, which is priced around 6.5 lakhs to 7 lakhs, gets some advancement with electronic circuitry, some automation. For example, steering. You would have heard about the steering, mechanical, which was prevalent in those days, now getting replaced by aided by the motors, where you just touch the steering, you don't need to strain much about yourself. And there are window lift motors. Previously, when you raise the windows, you need to rotate it through a handle. But today, at a touch of a button, the glasses will go up and down. Similarly, the seat adjustment. You don't need to adjust your seat mechanically. Press a button, either you move upwards or downwards, you move forward or you recline. A lot of things have come. In fact, we have estimated in future, the automobile industry is going to be ruled by a number of motors. In fact, we have a lot of potential for introducing different types of motors. For example, if you take a commercial vehicle, the headlamp, which is focusing the light on the road. If the vehicle is loaded with goods, what will happen? It will slowly sag from the behind, which means the headlamp will, instead of throwing the light on the road, it will throw the light on the upcoming vehicle. So what is the solution for this? There's a technology. There is one known as an actuator, which will adjust your headlight either up or down, depending upon the load on your vehicle. And it was basically a mechanical equipment having a switch near the driver's cabin, which you can turn up and down and adjust. But today, it got replaced by a motor. So at a press of a button, the headlamp can tilt any side. So like this, there are different advancements going on. Moreover, there are statutory requirements also, taking into account the comfort of the drivers. Today, you would have already heard from 2024 onwards, the trucks will have air-conditioned cabins. Because today, with the advent of industrial revolution, there are a lot of movement of goods across the country. You would have already heard about the Golden Triangle plan of the government, and a lot of connectivity is being established. So naturally, different types of goods, vehicles are getting introduced. You would have seen the Bharat beds released by Daimler, a lot of heavy trucks carrying high load capacity with the comfort to the drivers. So such statutory compliances also are making us to go in for a technology, which naturally enhances your price as well as cost. Then, how the price and cost are getting matched? It is simply not a fish market wherein you just compare with prices of neighboring vendors and then fix a price and try to undercut or overcut. That is not so. Here, primarily, as I told you, it's a technology based, which means it requires a lot of investments. Investments in the sense, it's not only buying a plant and machinery, but also enabling the corresponding support through tools and gauges, which are getting supported by various computer-aided designs. And there are a lot of programs available today, but there is a cost for that. But whenever we talk about the investment should bear as a return. Okay. Not only that, the return should be sizable for you to go further investments and keep on expanding your business. Suppose a vehicle brought on by a customer with fantastic features and so many other marketing techniques, it comes out. But when the utilities are not really meeting the customers, there can be a failure. If the vehicle introduced by the customer becomes a failure, what will happen to the supply commitments by us from the auto ancillary? We won't get a business. But in anticipation of those businesses, I would have invested money. I would have been given a big green picture about the future development volumes. It will turn into a number of thousands of vehicles, 20K, 30K, then growing up to 1 lakh, 150, like this. So keeping those in mind, I would have invested my money and started supplying this. But when there's a failure occurring at the customer end, the vehicle is not moving, what will happen? He can't take from me. What happens then to me? My investment becomes redundant. If I could have some other alternates to use those investments, yes, I am saved. But if I don't have, what will happen? It becomes a redundant and it's a no value added investment. Okay. So these are the challenges what we face today. But challenge is always a challenge. If you are scared away from the challenges, you can't come up in the industry. So we need to meet these challenges, and we do. Not only the companies like us, there are various types of companies, smaller, medium, and bigger companies, each one having their own challenges and ways and means to meet those challenges. Next slide. So this is one of the important thing what we talk about in every meeting today. See, when we study, that time the equation was the price is nothing but a cost on which you add some profit. So this is the price, customer comes and takes. Okay. It was a seller's market in those days. But later what has become, due to the advancement of technology and due to improvements over the business scenarios, the equation has changed. Yeah, I can get a price, I can demand certain price, I can switch, I incur a cost. The balance between the two is my profit. So there was a situation for some time. But today it is not so. The price is not at all determined by you. In fact, we used to say, as a cost accountant, we are not fixing the prices. We are only aiding the management to fix the prices. Then who fixes the price? It is nothing but the customer. Okay. So the customer says, if I buy these auto ancillary components at these rates, only then I can meet my cost of the vehicle, which I can put into the market. Okay. Then the moment the customer dictates you the price, I want product A, product B at these prices for these models. Then what I see, I try to estimate the cost. Suppose the price is given to me as 1,000 rupees, but when I estimate my total cost is 1,100. Thereby the workings indicate that I will be making a loss of 100 rupees for every product which I supply to the customer. I can't just keep quiet saying that it is no more profitable product for me. I am not quoting for you. It cannot be. Then what happens? I try to employ the ways and means to reduce the cost to meet the customer price. But at the same time, as a management, I need to have some return from my investments because I employ a lot of resources, right from a land, building, plant and machinery, tools and gauges, and above all, the human resources. The human resources in various fields like designing, engineering, process planning, and then people like us indirectly, HR, finance, IT. So a lot of departments are under an organization wherein I need to keep the workforce so that I can keep on doing my day-to-day affairs without any flaw. So I in turn need a return for that. So I fix, if I supply at this price, I am expecting a certain percentage of profit. Okay. So that is based on the decision on what way you are investing money, what are your ways of meeting the finances, so many things. Then the gap becomes your cost. Okay. Now this becomes your target cost. If you meet these targets, I can get the desired profit, thereby meeting the price dictated by the customer. So this is the Taraka mantra today. And for any of the RFQs means request for quote. This is the principle on which we do work today. Not only us, but many of our fellow companies, either upstream or downstream, do follow this type of equation. Next slide. See, when I talk about the cost and prices, there are certain pressures on both the front. You've already seen about the equations between the cost and prices, where we are pushed to a corner. So what are those pricing pressures we face? First of all, we get sandwiched between the customer and vendor. Being a tier 2 or a tier 3 person, when I am asking for a price from the customer says, no, I can't. But when I am acceding to that request, when I turn down to my supplier would say, no, sir, you may get a price from your customer like that, but I can't even sustain, and I can't even survive at these prices. So I need to make a bargain between the customer and vendor, and in the process I get sandwiched. Today, this is one of the major problems for us, particularly when the raw material prices go up. This situation comes. The moment raw material prices goes up, the vendor will come and say, sir, it is no more profitable for me. Even I can't get the material to keep my production running because the prices are so high. You give me an advance, or you buy material for me and give it to me. I will turn up into component and give it to you. So like this, so many things happen. But when I take the same issue with my customer, the customer will simply say, see, I've already committed a price in the market for this vehicle. Because of these spiraling prices, I cannot change my prices. Okay, so I can't give you any increases for you. You need to find out ways and means by which you can reduce your cost. Thereby, you try to keep up your margin. That's how you'll say. Then comes competitors. Competitors in the sense, like the customer is having a competitor, even for the same customer, people like me in my same sector are also competing in the business. And there are situations which I used to, because I used to participate in the negotiation at customer place as well as vendor's place. So the customer will tell me, see, you are offering this X price, but your competitor is offering me 10 rupees less than this. If you offer me 10 rupees less than this price, I can offer you the business. Otherwise, I can't. You simply say, suppose I say, yes, I can reduce my prices by 10 rupees. Then he will say, yes, okay, bye. We'll meet tomorrow. Then tomorrow he will call some other person, competitor C, and then say, see, competitor A has given this price. B is further reducing by 10 rupees. What are you going to do? How much you are going to reduce? This is the way the pricing is going on today. The price is not at all based on your cost or the effort you put in. It is purely based on the competition. Then the market segment. What do you mean by market segment? See, market segment is, I told you about the customer vehicle segment. A customer manufacturing tractors, he has got his own type of pressures. A customer in car segment or a customer in commercial vehicle segment. For example, in case of a commercial vehicle segment, if the interest rates are up, there can be no demand, or there may be a downward trend in the demand. In case of a tractor segment, if the monsoon is not fair, there may not be any demand for the tractors. In case of a car, it is mostly a segment which is ruled by the public. The choices are plenty. The comparison is plenty. And the needs are also plenty. So, these segment-based customers do their own strategy of fixing the prices. While fixing the prices for their product, a corresponding fixing of the cost is also falls on them, which at most comes to the hits of us in the form of prices to our products. Then comes share of business. The customer says, yeah, I identified 3 different people for the same component. Normally, this is being done to mitigate the risk of depending upon only one vendor. For example, today in Chennai rains, last week Chennai rains, a lot of factories got submerged. Even we too had also the same problem. Then we had a lot of visitors from the customer side. Maruti, he has deputed 4 people from their Delhi office. Hyundai from the local market. Then Tata Motors from Pune. Their worry is, if we are not able to start within a period of, say, a week or 10 days, what will happen to their production plan? So that will get affected. So normally what they will do is the segregation of these vendors in geographical area. For the supply of a particular product A, I can have a vendor in southern district, I can have a vendor in the northern belt, I can have a vendor in western belt. If something happens in the northern belt, I can rely upon the western belt vendor, like this. Similarly, the skilled labor availability. Wherever the skilled laborers are there, I am assured of a better design, better quality to suit my requirement. So accordingly, always these customers will have a policy of having 2 or 3 vendors. And around 5-6 years back, one customer was saying that he is going to adopt a single vendor policy. In fact, we were all afraid, because already there are 2-3 vendors giving you the same component to those customers. I don't know whether I'll be thrown out or the other person will get thrown out. If the other person gets thrown out, I will have a D-Day. I can enjoy 100% market share. But if the same happens to me, my part will become 0. But the concept was not really paying them well. Now they have shifted to 2 vendors, at the maximum 3 vendors. Again, these will be dependent upon the type of the component that is getting produced by the vendors. Then future business prospects. This is another threat actually. What will happen is, suppose if I quote a price for a current model, which is going to be launched in 2025. Only when they launch in 2025, I need to work in 2023 for a design. And by the time 2024, I need to supply samples, the trial runs, everything will be done. Then 2025, the vehicle will be out in the market. Suppose if I refuse to quote for a component in 2023, citing so many reasons, like a profitability or the cost pressure or high investment or technology area, then immediately will come another question. If you don't supply, or if you are not forming part of this project of mine, you may not be shortlisted for my next project. That means if I fail to quote and secure an order for this project X, the future products of the same company, Y, Z, X all in 2025, 26 and all, I may not be even given an RFQ. So I'll be out of the market. If it happens regularly with every customer, what will happen? I'll be out of the market. So to sustain and to ensure that I get the future business prospects also, I need to quote, I need to supply at the prices commanded by the customer. Next. What are the cost pressures? You know very well. Because defining cost is very simple. Okay? Because cost is nothing but common sense, what we call that way. To work out a costing, you don't need an CMA degree or anything else. That is fine, that is different. But cost is a common sense. See, the cost pressures are in so many ways. For example, raw material price escalation. I was telling you earlier on some instances where the raw material escalations, how that is getting affected in the market, particularly the small vendors. Then another big thing is the spec changes. What is a spec change? Spec means it's a short form of a specification. For example, a customer comes out with a car and he says, my car will withstand any environmental conditions. Even if you continuously ride the car 15 hours, 20 hours in the rain, it won't get rusted. If you continuously run my car in the coastal areas, where you will have the air from the sea coming and attacking, there what will happen is the salty air will make a corrosion in the parts of any metal part. Suppose because of the demand, because of the environment at which these vehicles are put in. For example, Tata Motors supplies a truck even to Russian countries, where the temperature will go down up to minus 40 degrees. For the same Tata Motors truck, I am supplying a component with a grease, okay, some egg grease. That grease can work in Indian conditions, in Indian temperature conditions. What is the purpose of a grease? The grease should give the mobility between the parts, meshing parts, can be a gear or any rotating part. But the same grease, when is supplied to a component which is used in a country like Russia, where the temperatures go down, the grease becomes solidified. So it won't make you move. So the very purpose of putting a grease is spoiled. So there is a specification change for the same component that is supplied to Indian market as well as the product supplied to the Russian market. So suppose he makes a contract with me for a supply to Indian market. He can't just read across that product to a Russian market. He will fail. Then he comes out with spec changes. I am going to supply these vehicles to this market. So I want a change in your design. But I can't give you any cost. If you give me this spec change, you will have additional volume of business. In turn, you will get more business. So that is incentive given to you. Then quality issues. The quality issues can be at either the customer end or at the vendor end. You would have heard about recalling of cars. What is a recall? Suppose a vehicle which has got a failure in tire. One instance comes to the notice of the manufacturer. Immediately, he will say, please quarantine all the tires that are supplied at that particular batch. Because they don't know. The failure is only in one vehicle. They don't know about the quality of the other item which is getting fitted into the car. There can be failure at any time. If such failures do occur repeatedly, the image of the customer will go off. So recall. What will happen to the recall? Which means you need to get back whatever the items already supplied to the customer, which is in their stockyard, or the materials what you are holding in your factory in the form of a finished goods, or a WIP, or a raw material. All those stocks will become waste. Then obsolescence. What is obsolescence? The change in models. For example, I want to have a black and white TV today. Can I go and get a black and white TV? No, never. I can get only a color TV. That too with so many features. If I want to say, no, I want such particular TV within the cost range of this much, they will say, no, sir, you can't get it because these are the features added. There will be a mild and marginal difference in price only. You can take it, sir. So the obsolescence make a good part of this production and the product. Then inflation. I told you for a product released by the customer in 2025, I need to quote in 2023. I don't know what will be the prices of my material, my salary levels in 2025. And whenever such quotes are being done, what we used to make is a 5-year projection to see whether we get I will cover this later in other chapters. So we need to have a projection for 5 years, taking the volumes, accordingly extrapolate the cost and revenue and see how much return I get. But we also plan for inflation. We also make a factor, but that factor never works as we estimate. And it is not even, for example, in case of wages. Today I interview a candidate. He says, I want a CTC of this plus this. Tomorrow, similar qualification for a similar job, I interview another candidate. His demand is X plus. The reason is, I'm already getting this much as salary, sir, at this company, and I want 30% plus, 40% plus. The moment you agree for those 30%, 40% plus, then comes your appraisal mechanism. In case you don't reward the people who performed well, they will not stay with you. They will immediately start looking after outside. So you need to provide for such contingencies. Like raw material, all the expenses, you need to have the provisions. For example, electricity bill. You don't know when these rates will get high. The deposits, what we make, how much it will get revised, we don't know. So these inflationary factors also are making a dent on your cost estimates. Then working capital. This is much more difficult area that is faced by particularly small industries. That is, the customer says, yeah, I will make a payment in 60 days time. And you need to make a payment to your vendors in 45 days. Particularly when you are dealing with the MSME vendors, it is statutorily 45 days. But in reality, what happens? You don't get the payment in 60 days from the customer. It takes 70 days or 80 days. Similarly, the vendors, they will come and say, sir, I am not able to even procure the material. Why don't you advance me some money? Or why don't you reduce my terms from 45 to 30? And there are requests for even one-time waiver of these payment terms also. At the same time, because of the obsolescence or quality issues, I would have accumulated inventory. The inventory which is no more useful for me, which I need to scrap. So my working capital gets blocked in the form of a debtors, in the form of an inventory, which is totally a waste as far as any financial matter is concerned. So unless you compress the working capital cycle, you may not be in a position to command your business finances. Next. So how to meet these pressures on both cost and price sides? The weapon what we have today is target cost approach. What is the target cost? As I was explaining you in the equation of price and cost, I am given a target in terms of a cost against a determined prices of the customer. Thereby, I am trying to meet the gap between the two at an optimal level to maintain the profitability margins as decided by the management. But what exactly target means? Target doesn't mean only in terms of financials. Target is everywhere. For example, in case of a design, what is the target in design? Even while designing, you need to keep in mind, if I put a design of like this using this material, what would be my cost? Suppose I change the design, I make a curve a little bit lesser, then I make the surface area a little bit more, or I use a thinner sheet than a thicker sheet. What will happen to my cost? But at the same time, the component should not lose its quality value for which it is designed for. Then comes material cost. Based on the design, there is a bill of material released by engineering. That bill of material is getting converted into a real material cost estimate after a routing list. What is routing list? Routing or a routing? That means which components can be made in-house, which component can be bought out. And if I manufacture certain components in-house, what type of raw material I should be purchasing? Whether I need to import some material or everything is available locally. All those factors will take you to the estimation of material cost. Then investment. Investment is based on the routing. Wherever you are assuming that certain components are going to be manufactured in-house, you need to have the plant and machinery. It is not only in terms of plant and machinery, it is also in terms of supporting utilities. For example, you are going to replace an entire automated line in which a certain continuous process or more precision process is going on. I need to put on a UPS. If I put on a UPS and given a lot of automatic motors, I need to put up electrical equipments. When I enhance these electrical requirements, naturally I need to expand my substation, putting a transformer, putting additional switch gears, then taking up that additional demand with a TNAB. So like this, lot of things do behind. Then all the three decides your return. When it comes to your return, there are a lot of financial calculations about your returns, what sort of cost of capital you can judge. There are so many methods available today. But finally, to apply those results, you need to have the basic data on the above three. But ultimately, whether you save in design or in material cost or investment, or you sacrifice return or get more return, finally the customer should get satisfied. If the customer satisfaction is not ensured, you are out of the business. So, in the name of a target, you can't simply prune everywhere and then end up in a misery. Next. So while seeing this target, under these 4 heads, design, material, investment, what exactly we can do? We have a concept called the zero defect design. That is, even at the time of designing, I need to see that if I design this component in such a way, it won't fail. For example, if we design a wiper motor, if there is a heavy wind and a lot of heavy showers, the wiper blade should not fail. The wiper should keep on wiping at the specified speed, rotation. And while designing the wiper, there are 2 concepts, one on the driver side, other on the passenger side. There is one concept known as an angle of wipe. That is, the angle of wipe from a driver's point of view is totally different from the passenger's point of view. So as a driver, you should have a clear view of the road on either side as well as the upcoming road. So accordingly, the motor will be designed in such a way that there is a component inside the wiper motor guiding this angle of wipe. In fact, that is made up of a brass sheet actually. Suppose instead of brass, I am questioning as a cost accountant, why do you use brass sheet costing this much? Why don't you use an aluminum sheet? Yes, both are metals, but the effect will be different. Okay, so the zero defect design should ensure that there won't be any defect even if I make with an alternate material or an alternate design. Then optimal performance. What is optimal performance? For example, any design, take for example same wiper motor, because why I am taking wiper motor is this is an item in auto electricals which you see on your eyes outside the car or a vehicle. Normally we design the wiper motor at a strength of a continuous run for certain hours. What we do is we put these wiper motors in showering conditions where the water will keep on pouring from the top, and wiper motor will be running continuously for 200 hours, 300 hours, even 500 hours. This spec will determine, even at the end of 100 hours or 200 hours, if you take out the motor and dismantle, there should not be any presence of oil droplet inside the motor. Okay, but the shower is heavy. We don't know how to protect this. So the design will always have, wherever there are opening pot or wherever the points join together, there will be some sealing features. The seal can be either made of a high quality rubber or any other type of a sealant or application of a sealant. There are so many design factors available. So using such of those sealing element, where I can get the optimal performance at the minimal cost. That is the way I need to design. Then alternate material without sacrificing your quality. Okay. For example, in steel, there are different types of steels. Particularly, the steel play a major role in electrical components. Steel and copper are the major elements of material. So, for an item which is used for starting the motor vehicle, there's a different types of steel is used. A similar steel for making the generation of current through an alternator, a different steel is used. And in certain cases, there are certain ratios, what is known as a power curve, based on which the design is being taken care of, which is again based on the specification given by the engine manufacturer. So, to attain the curve, I will have to do some simulations. If I put this material, how the curve comes. If I put material B, what is the curve comes. If the curve is okay, whether performance is okay. Whether it's giving the required voltage at the required RPM, whether it's discharging the required amperage, everything I need to see. Similarly, the process, alternate process. Alternate process in the sense, a component can be done using a strip of steel in a pressing mode, like your tiffin boxes. Or the same can be done as a casting. Again, a casting can be done either through an aluminum or any other metal alloys. Because since I already told you, all depends upon the weight of the component, which in turn decides the fuel efficiency of the vehicle. These to be weighed, which one to put. Then DCN and RFDC. What is DCN? DCN is nothing but a design change in order released by engineering to the production people that We have made the change in design so far. Please do this implement from next batch onwards. What is RFDC? RFDC is a reverse process. It is a request for a design change from the production side to engineering. For example, engineering would have recommended putting some bolt in a particular position. But if the operator is not able to maintain that position so that he can ensure the tightening, he may call for an RFDC saying that it is difficult to put such a node, such a bolt in a particular condition. So please make a way, give a clearance for this part. So there cannot be any conflict between these two, which will ultimately affect your quality. All the above, performance, zero defect, everything will go haywire and ultimately in cost. Then coming to target cost. See, the design is frozen. Now it is part of the estimation process by the materials department. Their routing plays a vitally important. Routing decides you which component to make, which component to buy. And the moment you decide on the components to be brought from the vendors, you need to go under vendor selection. Which vendor is famous for this? Who can do better delivery? Because the principle what we follow is QCDS. Quality, cost, delivery, and service. Unless a vendor satisfies all these 4 conditions, I can't encourage him as a vendor. Because a similar measurement is being done on me by my customer. Okay. Then normalization of raw material rates. What is normalization? I told you about inflation. I am going to quote for a product to be supplied in 2025, but quotation is reported in 2023 at the prevailing rates of raw material today. I don't know what would be the raw material rate at the time of supply in 2025. So I make a condition that today's prices is subject to change as per the raw material levels of the at the time of commencing the production. Then share of business. Like my customer chooses alternate sourcing, having 2 source, 3 source, I can also have the liberty to have my sources. Again, even the sources, either a local or import. I can use either an import material or a local material, but still I need to have how much share of this I can put in the particular vehicle. For example, I may be having a common product used across various segments of the vehicle, but each segment may require different types of, for example, sealing. If you take a tractor, my products are subject to the splashing of the mud. So I need to be very careful in designing the product sealing in such a way that whether a mud or a water splashing does not affect the performance of my product. But same product, when it is used in a car, it is safely embedded within the engine, where I don't need to bother about such additional features. Then import substitution. Today, everybody talks about Make in India. Why? There was a condition where even these auto ancillary electrical parts were imported from abroad and then they're supplied in a CKD conditions to the vehicle manufacturers. But today, all these have got localized 100%. Even wherever we have initially start import of materials, we need to go in for a technical collaboration and get the technology from the overseas manufacturer and start doing on your own. That is why even when you go today, the customers would ask you, what is the import content in your vehicle? That is predominantly is used to assess what would be the risk of exchange rate fluctuation when we enter into a formula for price adjustments. Or what would be the amount of risk, suppose some embargo comes on a particular foreign country from where you are getting the material. What will happen to my supplies? In fact, this has happened in case of chips recently. Still, we are yet to recover from the shortage of chips made from China. So, this import substitution will always be a matter of discussion between the vendor and the customer. Next. Next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah. Then target investment. When we talk about the investment, since I'm already a running factory, so any new orders which I commit from the customers, may require an investment in addition. So my product is being made in an existing line, but with some additional investment required for the specific customer. That is known as exclusive investment. How do we determine exclusivity of an investment? The rule is, if I don't get this order, will I be buying this machine? If the answer is no, it becomes an exclusive investment. That is, if I don't get the order, I don't need this machine at all. If I get the order, I need this machine. So it becomes an exclusivity. So what is the treatment in cost? If an investment becomes an exclusive, I need to amortize my all capital costs to the exclusive volumes of the customer. Whereas the common investment in which product for customer A also moves in, product for customer B also moves in, the cost is shared by so many volumes. So the exclusivity and the common is the main distinction while making the decision. Then routing check. While deciding the routing on purchasing from outside, we have been talking about import versus local. Even when you talk about localization, whether the localized component can be purchased as it is from a vendor or I myself can make it. What will be the cost effect? Will there be a saving or a penalty? And when these make or buy decisions are done, the people responsible are the process planning of the engineering department who decide the process and plans for the machinery, and the material department who plans the procurement from outside. Suppose making a decision, the engineering says you can make it, why are you going outside and buying it, you can make it. But purchase says, no. Even if you are making it, this requires a specific type of raw material which I can't get it from local market. I need to make an import. So it is not possible for me to make in-house. Similarly, the process planning may say, no, don't make this inside because they would like to ration their investment requirement. So if you advise purchase, better you go and find out a vendor and buy this. But metal may say, no, I don't have a suitable vendor for this within this country. I can't. So there must be a concurrence between materials and engineering on such decisions, so that decides your investment pattern. Then technology. Today, the customers require automation. There was one customer who came and verified our line for an inspection, just getting to know how we manufacture. He said, even you can't touch the component by hand. Why? I'm not manufacturing any surgical instrument. I'm only manufacturing for mechanical equipment. But the reason what they say is, even if you touch a component, handle manually, there can be a minute grime and dust in your hand, which may fall, which may get deposited on the surface of the component, which may cause certain failures. See, for example, when the space mission was there, the space mission, when it failed in USA, what was the root cause? There was a small chip from the outer casing of the aircraft that caused the major fire. So even a small mistake can cause a major havoc. So here he says, please avoid manual touching, do an automation where these components are handled by a robot. So we need to think about technology because the technology is advancing every day. The technology available last year is not available today. And the next year, they may expect you to be more improved in technology. Thereby, your cycle time is getting compressed. What is the compression of cycle time? It is the productivity. If I make 1,000 products a day, if I could make 1,200 by compressing the cycle time between the machine, between man and machine, my productivity goes up. Thereby, the fixed costs, which are period-based costs, will come down per unit basis. The negotiation. Negotiate with your machine supplier. Negotiate with your vendors, whether for material or for investment, anything. Then coming to target return. See, target return can be either in the form of a cost of capital. Certain decisions may be made based on the payback or the return on capital employed. And certain decisions do get deviated by the investment participation by the customer. That means particularly when the investments are made exclusively for a customer, we would like to ask the customer to make a participation. Why? That becomes an insurance against any unforeseen loss of business by the customer. I told you about a vehicle failure in the market, In such failures, the moment the customer fails, I'm not going to have any order. The investment made by me exclusively for the product are going to be a waste. So, to share the risk of mitigation, I expect my customer to have a share of the exclusive investment. There are a lot of agreements, commercial discussions that go on between customer and vendor. Then working capital cycle. Since your PBIT, all the ratios are based on working capital, you should try to have a target cycle time of your working capital cycle, wherein try to reduce the payment terms with your customer, try to relax with your vendor for a better payment terms, then have a target for your inventory in terms of finished goods, inventory in terms of WIP or a component. And even if you do some subcontracting, you may not have any inventory, but all the inventory will be sitting at the subcontractor end. Still, that is causing a dent on your working capital. Then government schemes. What are government schemes? When you make an import, you can make an import duty-free by participating in various government schemes. When you are committing an export commitment, there are a lot of schemes available today. Even PLA schemes are getting announced by government. Whenever you start a new business, particularly greenfield business, you try to explore these possibilities so that you achieve your targets. Next. So the moment you find out your target and fix the target, and everybody is very happy. You are given the target investment, you are given the target material cost, thereby I am getting my targeted returns. I am happy. Go out with the quotation, quote and get the order. That's all. But the moment the target is given, we need to monitor at every stage. So what are the stages at which this can be monitored? Estimation stage. Estimation stage, what we discussed earlier in terms of design, investment, material cost, routing, all those things will be done at the estimation stage. Then there is one design review, because all auto ancillary industries are governed by the auto quality standards, which is known as a TS 16949. It exactly states certain quality systems to be followed in reviewing the design and development, not only in terms of technicalities, but also in terms of commercials. So design review, there are 5 different stages of design review. Design review 1 is for the product design, 2 for the process, 3 where the investment will get reviewed, 4 will be for quality. Like this, each of the stages will review those parameters, in which every such department will participate, discuss jointly, and hear about the commitment given by marketing to the customer, the problems faced by the factory, the problems faced by the quality. Everybody will share their views for which the solution should be given. And we are also part of the team when we have the design review 3. At these meetings, I will say, so this was the target, but the target is now beyond certain limit or within the target, or the target is likely to hit because of certain changes being advised now. They may be designing. For example, they may be designing about a quality problem. Then somebody will say, oh no, if we can introduce this component to arrest this quality leak, then I should say, if I introduce this component, this is going to increase my material cost or investment, which is going to erode your target. So that is the stage at which I should caution those people so that they can talk about or think about alternate arrangements to mitigate these losses. Then tooled up sample. Tooled up sample is the one which is almost getting a finalization by the customer. That time you need to review your investments, review your material cost, the process, the rejections, everything. So if these are reviewed together and your targets are recast, you have a revised target or a revised estimate, then revised estimate other which will fall in the main target. Those kind of monitoring will enable you to have any course correction if something goes wrong. It won't be too late before your matured business stage. Then comes the startup production. SOP means the customer will say, I have got enough of tested samples. I've also made my road test. Everything is okay. I'm going to launch the vehicle from the next month. Thereafter, I'm going to give up a ramp up plan. It will start with 1,000 numbers a day, 1,200 number a day from week 3 onwards, then 1,500 from week 4 onwards. Like this, you will give a ramp up stage. So the more you ramp up, more you should be very cautious. If you are out of the target at the stage 1 itself, any ramp up will add to your losses only. So you need to be very careful in monitoring these targets when the ramp up stage comes and when particularly you reach the mature business stage. So between the estimation and mature, if we compare the cost estimates, you'll be really surprised. Those which were estimated or assumed at the time of estimation might have gone differently, calling for different types of investment, different types of componentry. And you will find out. Then you will have a post-mortem. Why this has gone wrong? Is it because of raw material change? Is it because of change in bill of material? Is it because of change in specification? Is it because of any quality checks? All those things will get analyzed. Why should we do that? The purpose is not to repeat such mistakes again in your future businesses. That is the prime lesson what you learn today. Next. Suppose I feel that I'm exceeding the target. No other way. I can't go back because I already made a commitment to the customer on the performance and everything, whatever we have seen so far. Then there must be a plan for mitigation to reduce the effect of these excess target items. So that can be done on two fronts, both on pricing front as well as on cost front. In pricing front, you need to revise the price, review the prices between your quote and the customer's purchase order, which is released at the time of your SOP. You need to see what conditions in which you are quoted in terms of raw material prices, in terms payment terms, everything. Suppose you make your quote with an assumption of payment terms of 30 days, but customer receives a PO with a payment terms of 60 days, the impact in your working capital on account of debtors is twofold. Clear. Similarly, you quote LME prices of copper at $8,000, but when the customer PO is released, these $8,000 become $9,000, thereby making a dent on your input material cost. What to do? So you need to review the price terms at the time of customer PO. If you find any aberrations or anything biting back your margins, you need to raise up with the customer and try to justify. Similarly, the volume projected and the actual volume. The customer would have projected a volumes for n number of years, based on which you would have prepared a business case for justification with your management for quotation and thereby getting their approval. But in reality, the project volume does not come. What will happen? You already made the investments, you already made the facilities. So all the fixed cost element of the product will be here. The moment the volume drops down, then the committed volume or the estimated volume, it has got a dent on your cost. So you can approach your customer saying that the volumes committed by you were this, I made a facilities like this, but I couldn't get. So you please compensate answer. Then design changes. RFQ means request for quote. In the RFQ, customer says, these are all the qualities I expect from your product. This is how my engine is going to work. My vehicle is going to work. And your product has to meet these specifications. Suppose, due to the road trial at the end of the customer, there is a possibility of a change in that design, which affects your componentry. You will be asked to make the design change in your product and supply at an additional cost. All the design changes need not be ending in additional cost, but normally such design changes do warrant additional cost, either in terms of an additional material or change in spec of the material, or even the change in additional plant and machinery or tools and cages. Then test spec changes. I told you about a wiper passing through a test for 100 hours, 200 hours. The customer would have normally, suppose if the customer terms are silent on these, you go ahead with your own spec. Say 200 hours is my spec. I will design the product for 200 spec. But customer suddenly says, no, I am going to supply this vehicle for this type of an environment. So I want this spec to be changed to 500 hours. Then what will happen? If I need to change the test spec from 200 to 500 hours, I need to equip my product with the suitable sealing features, with the specific materials. So this may call for a change, negotiation with your customer, getting some additional pricing to mitigate. Same thing in front of costing side. Compare the actual versus target, where you are exceeding, where you are within target, or somewhere we are exceeding target but compensated equally by certain reduction. Then RM rate fluctuations, what you have estimated, what is going to be today. Then exchange rate fluctuation, if you are making import, you need to ensure that you have declared the correct exchange content to the customer and also the rate at which you have given the quote, so that there is no reference, there is no dispute between the two, and also the reference document for such changes. For copper, whether I am going to see LME or HCL circular or MMR circular, all the bases have to be fixed with the customer to avoid any disputes. Then internal design changes, whether there was a design change called by your engineering department to mitigate certain quality issues or to mitigate certain process issues, whether that design changes has caused any additional investment or additional material cost. Then manufacturing BOM review, bill of material. There are two bill of materials. One is engineering bill of material, other is manufacturing bill of material. So in case of engineering bill of material to manufacturing bill of material, there will be a lot of differences. So any change in bill of material is going to naturally affect your cost. So that you need to specifically monitor. Then what are the process of mitigation? Normalizing the pricing with from SOP date to this, particularly when you have a formula for RM or a Forex, something like that. Then correct the material norms and completion of PPAP. That is particularly for factory made components. Suppose I want to make a blacked component. Black component means there will be a sheet of metal from which you will get the blacked components. The balance will be a design scrap. If your machinery or tooling adjustments are wrong, or if they undergo changes, the norms will make a difference. If the additional norms are getting consumed, you need to incur additional cost. Then justify the impact design changes made at the instance of the customer. You should have the proof, the communication from their engineering to your engineering, from your engineering to your cost derivation. Then you should seek additional prices to cover under-absorbed fixed costs, particularly when the volumes are not inside, and request for participation in investment of tool costs or development costs. In case of certain customers, you need to have the test certificate done by a central agency for which you need to pay money. So this is done exclusively for the customer's requirement. You got every right to ask for the customer to pay such development costs. Then parallelly, you should search avenues for any cost reduction, VAVE, value addition, value engineering, then explore reduction in cost through negotiation, either in terms of your component procurement or machinery procurement, whatever it is, even in terms of overheads, the transport contract rates, the transport contract rate for supplying your goods to the customer or getting your raw material from the vendor into your end. Lot of things are there. So each and every element of cost is very, very vital while monitoring the targets. Next. And it should be continuous. Today, you are talking about a new product introduction, do the monitoring. It doesn't end there. A new product becomes an old product today. Then you should still continue to monitor even for the existing product. What is the movement of gross margin between this product? On what reason? Whether due to price change or cost change or volume change, everything should be monitored. So to make the monitoring easier, better segregate this into new business and existing business. Then exclusive investments of yesterday's become a common investment today. So thereby there can be sharing of the cost or vice versa. Then the combined volumes grow and volume-based cost reduction might be asked by your customer. You should be prepared. Then check learning curve. Learning curve in the sense, doing the repeated process, you are supposed to develop, you are supposed to reduce your labor cycle time, thereby increasing the productivity. Then apply the same rules for existing products and identify the chronic loss making product, because one product might be giving a rosy picture at the time of production, but you see 3-4 years later the same product become a lousy product because something would have happened which goes unnoticed, and suddenly you find, oh, this becomes a lousy product, why should we manufacture? So by this exercise you need to ensure a balanced mix of products, good, bad, medium, in terms of return, in terms of cost, in terms of your productivity, everything. Next. So moving forward, this journey you need to record. When the material cost has gone up, what action I have taken, what was the earlier figure, what is the revised figure, everything you should document. Why document? Because that will give a eye opener to the next generation, to the next product, to the next followers. So TQM is an ideal, total quality management is an ideal principle, where if you follow the TQM procedures, you will have a fantastic documentation of such projects. Then establish a trend chart in terms of price, cost, whatever it is. Then stratify the products by suitable grouping. Prepare checklist. Suppose the grouping can be based on the customer segment, grouping can be based on your product range, and whatever it is for a certain groups, what are the checkpoints that you should ensure to meet within the target. You prepare a checklist. Apply the checklist whenever you come across such classification of a product grouping. Then form rules and establish cost gates like a design or quality gate. If something is wrong, the quality engineer will not pass on to the next process. If something is wrong in the material procured, the vendor quality will not pass on to the production. Like this, you have a cost gates. Unless the cost targets are matured, you will not allow the next approval stage. Then educate the concern, because a person who designs may not be knowing much about the impact on the cost. A person who is doing the costing may not know much about the engineering. So these people should exchange their knowledge. Thereby, a pooled up knowledge will definitely bring you prospects. So training needs has to be addressed. And this is what I wanted to share. In fact, this is a very big subject. Even while talking about the target and monitoring, there are a lot of sub-elements involved. Each element can take an hour or two to explain. But considering the paucity of time and then just an introductory or a feeling of what we do in auto industry, just I made a brief presentation. I don't know whether it has met your expectations or not, but whatever the feedback you have got, you can definitely share with me so that I can improve this content, which will benefit the future viewers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was shower of information, sir. You share the concepts in the simplest form and made it crystal clear. It definitely met our expectations, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Shri TCA Srinivas Prasad, sir, Council Member of Laghu, Udyog, Bharati is with us. May I now request and welcome Shri TCA Srinivas Prasad, sir, to deliver his views and comments at this juncture. Please, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
So,
Mr.
one
Raman, it was a
correction.
pleasure.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Mr.
Sir
Raman,
is
it was
Council Member of Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Thank you, sir. Please proceed.
Mr. Raman, it was a pleasure listening to you. A lot of aspects in a very, very lucid way. A lot of things where we should look at the costing aspect. And one very, very important point to all the participants, please understand our role starts right from zero level. If somebody is, if sales department is going to decide on the pricing, and then later on they come to the finance or the operation department, you will have to produce at this price, that is not going to work out. That is what Mr. Raman was telling. So all our we professionals who especially who are looking at the costing aspects, we should come out of our silos and we should, again I repeat, we should, because if Mr. Raman says, that means they have been contributing other than finance, because
Yeah.
finance is the last step, no, finance is the last step, because we are not incurring cost. That is what Mr. Raman was trying to tell all of us. We are not incurring cost. We are only finally accounting in sometimes and then guiding the management in all department as to which cost you should incur, which cost you should not incur. In fact, Mr. Raman, paucity of time, I think he didn't get into the hedging business and all, because when he talked about 8,000 rupees for my nickel price or whatever it is, and it has become $9,000 in the London Metal Exchange. So if you give more time to Mr. Raman for a day, then he will make you as a costing expert. Maybe that is why he didn't want to do, because we will go and occupy his chair. So which I think may not be good. So it was a wonderful experience. If people, especially the students who want to pursue the cost and finance and management as a career, you have an excellent expertise speakers like this. So you can make down notes and then you can start applying right from day one. Or in the interview also you can do very well. How are you going to govern a cost? How are you going to take control of the cost and all? This is what. Because we have to look at the cost even before it is incurred. See, it is not that you should look at the cost at the time of incurrence or after it has incurred. It is like after the milk has boiled and spilled, then we are telling milk has boiled because of this kind of a loss has happened. Next time milk should not boil. Why don't we stay near the milk or ensure that the stove is kept in the steam in case you have another job, and then find out how much time it is going to boil and all. The best portion is it was a very understanding for all of us. So my special thanks to Mr. Raman, and we really want to thank him, because he was too busy. But then Patani, I pulled him out and said that you are the only person who should do this job. I do not know anybody. That is what I said. And Rakesh Ravishankar must have been after his blood for the last 3 days. So thanks to Rakesh, who has been a pillar of strength, and thanks to all organizers and our SIPCOT and Thirumudivakkam. It's a wonderful union of an educational institution, a professional institution, and a person with decades of experience of running ancillary industry of an automobile, and the organization which brings the people together, the buyers and sellers and the SMEs and all. So thanks a lot. Thanks to DJ Vaishnav College for being a partner with us, and thanks to SIPCOT Thirumudivakkam being a partner with us, and thanks to Mr. Raman and CMA Rakesh Ravishankar. Thank you very much. My mic is going on mute. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for expressing your frank perception, sir. Thank you so much. Now the forum is ready for question and answer session. May I now request the participants to clarify their queries with our experts.
Sir, your session has been very crystal clear. So participants have shared their presentation as excellent, good. So I think they are in search of questions, because once your topics are very crystal clear, there is no area or domain for the questions. But I have one question on my personal side.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about quality gates and design gates in the last slide. I've heard about quality circles. Is it something different from the quality circles?
See, quality circle is one where the technical problems are taken, analyzed, and then decision is taken. Okay, they use primarily the statistical techniques. But what I mean cost gate is that when the design review meetings are held, even the invitation is coming to the finance department, particularly costing. So the design review 3 is the primary meeting wherein the cost will get discussed. Suppose if you don't participate in design review 1 and 2 and go straight away to design review 3, you will be blindfolded. because a lot of discussion would have happened in design review 1 and 2, which determines the product. For example, design review 1 will talk about the material, design review 2 will talk about the process. If there is a change contemplated in the design reviews, and immediately you should react with your cost figures, your impact on the cost, everything will go differently, you know. So I used to make that opportunity as a cost gauge. So they talk about only technically about the gates, but nobody talks about the gate commercially. But I insist that this should be a cost gate when the design review 3 is being done, and see that that is getting implemented.
Good, sir. Your clarification is very lucid. And I think Dr. Prabha Rajagopalan have noted that quality gates and design gates. So she'll
Yes,
be bringing the same into the curriculum, because it's a new approach which we have learned today. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Over to Dr. D. Jayaprakash for formal vote of thanks.
Gratitude is strong feeling of appreciation and being thankful. May I now request Dr. D. Jayaprakash, Head Department of BCom A&F, to propose the vote of thanks to express the gratitude of our organizing team. So please, sir.
Good evening to one and all present here. No matter what language you speak, a kind and smiling thank you. Always speak to everyone arts. It gives me immense pleasure to propose the vote of thanks for the Day 3 Faculty Development Program on Industry Connect and Knowledge Enrichment Series. Automobile Ancillary Industry Marching Towards Excellence. The success of this program became possible only because of the untiring efforts and work of all those who were directly and indirectly involved to conduct this faculty development program. At this juncture, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our technical expert and resource person, CMA D. Raman sir, General Manager, Costing, Lucas TVS. Sir, your wonderful and mesmerizing motivational speech has left all of us spellbound and amazed. Sir, your speech has inspired faculty members and budding students. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the special invitee, Shri M. Sivakumar, State President, Laghu Udyog Bharati. Thank you so much, sir. I express my gratitude to the collaborator of Faculty Development Program, CMA Shri TCA Srinivasa Prasad sir, Council Member of CMA, Dr. S. Sheshatrinathan, Associate Professor and Head Advisor of this Faculty Development Program, CMA Rakesh Shankar, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Shri D. Prem Kumar, Organizing Secretaries, and collaborated with Dwaraka Goverdhan Vaishnav College, the Institute of Cost Accountant of India, Laghu Udyog Bharati, Thirumudivakkam Industrial Estate Manufacturer Association for their dedicated support for the educational excellence. Thank you, sir. My sincere gratitude goes to our Secretary, sir, Sri Sivakumar Mundra, for constantly motivating and learning all of us. I express my sincere gratitude our dynamic principal, Captain Dr. S. Santosh Babu, for his foresighted vision and commitment for the perfection, quality enhancement. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. It is our convener, mentor, Dr. Prabha Rajagopalan Madam, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Corporate Secretary, and co-convener, Dr. J. Satishar. They always provide direction and motivation as to learn. Thank you so much, ma'am and sir. Last but not least, a special thanks to all the participants this academic exercise. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Jayaprakash sir. Thank you, viewers, for staying tuned and participating on Industrial Connect and Knowledge Enrichment Program, Day 3. And we are looking forward for your active participation on Day 4 too, that is tomorrow, 18th December, Monday. Please stay tuned tomorrow with our lineup of experts and keynote speakers, CMA Y Srinivasa Rao, Secretary, SIRC, the Institute of Cost Accountant of India, Shri R.V. Chari, Managing Director, GM, Induction India Private Limited, Shri Bharathan K, Founder and CEO of Ozotech Automobile Private Limited. Thank you, viewers. Thank you for joining us. And please stay tuned tomorrow also for more knowledge takeaway. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody. Jai Hind.
It's enough.